So sometimes you may have a third vehicle, or you probably enjoy, or maybe it's a car that you don't drive very often. It's the family weekend car because you're in a van all week, and they tend to sit on the drive for long periods of time. They get covered in different types of dirt, you know, maybe tree sap and things like that. And that is exactly the case with what we have today, which is this amazing British classic. They were very rare when they were built, and they're even more rare now. But the owner of this vehicle, he has quite a few different vehicles, and this is the one that he doesn't drive very often. In fact, I think it's only been driven maybe 1 or 2 times this year. It's been sat around on his driveway, and it's picked up, like I said, lots of different types of dirt. So unfortunately it's raining now, so it actually probably looks okay on the camera, but I can tell you now it's covered in a very, very thick layer of crud, shall we describe it as that. So we have lots of like cat prints on it. We can't see now because of the rain, but there's lots of paw prints on it. It's covered in usual dirt. We've got brake dust and stuff from where he has actually driven it. Probably come from the rusty discs driving it here this morning. We even have half a bird. It's obviously not half a bird, it's a lot less than that, but we have feathers, we have leaves, we have many different organic life forms living on it. Spiders, things like that. So it's absolutely covered. We've got one sneaking in the door crack here. But actually underneath this car, and it's probably the same with your vehicle, actually underneath all of this dirt is actually in very good condition. And what we need to do is get it looking its best again, because let's not beat around the bush. This car is absolutely stunning. It sounds amazing, and it is amazing. It's a fantastic car. I absolutely love these. You've got NAV8 with like 400 horsepower or something like that. High revving V8. Doesn't sound like your typical low rumbling V8. It's very high revving, almost sounds like a bike when it's being revved. And these are pretty much a race car from factory. So you have, you know, completely fiberglass body, you know. I mean, it's basically like a kit car. You have AP racing brakes, you know, most of the chassis is aluminium tubular and things like that. Randomly has 4 seats, which makes no sense because I don't think you want to put anybody in the back of this thing. But this is a proper old school motor, you know, no power steering, no traction control, no ABS, and a lot of power in a lightweight shell. I think it's around 1100 kilos. This is a recipe for disaster, especially in weather like this, if you don't know what you're doing. Has a paddle clutch as well, which is quite interesting when you're trying to move it around, which I'm sure we're going to have fun with trying to do that in a minute. But it's such a cool car for the era. If you notice, no door handles. Another cool feature, there's actually a little button underneath the wing mirror which pops the doors open, which is really cool. And in fact, even on the rear, a couple of cool features is this is the release for the boot. There's no handle, so you push that and the boot pops, which is really cool. Actually, there's no, also the owner was just telling us a minute ago, there's no rear number plate lights. This is actually a light box, so it lights the number plate up from the rear. So you actually need a see-through number plate for it to shine up to be legal. Clearly not a see-through number plate. But this overall spec is actually really cool as well. So this green color, it doesn't look like it now, but when we get it in a minute and it's clean, the color is absolutely stunning. It has got high metal flake, or is almost like a glittery effect, and I can't wait to show you that when we get inside. And also the contrast of the grey wheels on this color is just perfect. Yeah, so hopefully in a minute we may get some sound shots of it actually driving, and you may be able to hear it, and then when we get it clean you'll be able to see how stunning this paintwork is. Snacks, beverages, anything from the trolley. Sorry, no Pringles and no wine, but I do have polish and some wax and some nice coatings. The first thing I'm going to clean on this car, which is what we always like to do first, is the wheels. I have our Beast wheel cleaner. Fantastic wheel cleaner, safe for all types. And I have some of our accessories ready. I've got our wheel rim brush, long reach, so I can get all the barrels and the hard to reach places. Got to have the barrels clean when cleaning wheels. Some of them Some intricate wheels are very difficult to do, but on these they've got nice open spokes and we can get right in there with that brush. I've got our soft brush for going around the wheel nuts and, you know, any hard to reach areas or little details. I've got them. And I like to use our Sonax mitt, which is nice to get around the spokes and the faces of the wheels. Just, it's nice on your hands and it's nice and soft so it doesn't scratch. Right, I'm gonna get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna spray the beast all the way around. The beauty is, as I've spoken to in many videos, this is quite thick, so it sits on for quite a long time. You can actually leave this for about 5 minutes, depending on the weather conditions. If it's boiling hot, then obviously it's going to dry out quite quick. But because of the pH neutral formula, it won't actually harm if it does dry on. It's not ideal, but it's not that bad. We can actually see how long this car has been sat because you can see a little mud patch of where it's been sat on the drive. And actually, what we've been filming is actually dried out, stopped raining now. And actually now we can see the dirt a bit better on the car. And we can see all these little paw prints from the cat, which has been running around on it, which is really annoying. Hopefully it hasn't scratched, because the trouble is obviously cats, they got their claws, which I know they don't spring them out very often, but if they start slipping on the paintwork, they tend to use them as an anchor. So they can scratch. If they start to slip and slide on it, they will put their claws out, and that is really annoying because sometimes they can obviously be very deep. Right, I'm going to apply the beast to the rest of the wheels and I'm going to let it sit before I agitate. Okay, so I've left the beast wheel cleaner to dwell. You can see the bleeding effect very heavily on here as it's reacted with the brake dust and iron contaminants. I'm now going to agitate it, so I've got a long reach wheel brush, easy for me to say. And then this obviously enables me to get into the barrels because we like a clean barrel. So scrubbing through here, the good thing with this wheel brush is it has a knuckle protector. I don't think that's its official term, but that's what we'll call it. So I don't smash my knuckles on the spokes. Second thing is it's a composite handle, so it's not metal or anything like that. And then this microfiber brush end. And then this microfiber end doesn't scratch. So, with your expensive wheels, like I'm sure these are, we don't end up putting in some nasty swirl marks and scratches. The microfiber, because of its grabby effect, actually gives better cleaning power over your traditional plastic brushes and things like that. So you don't have to agitate so much with this brush. Now I've got a soft brush and I'm going through, all around all the lug nuts, making sure the bristles get in there so I can get all that brake dust which is stuck behind from previous bad cleaning, and around the valve, and also I can reach through and get the brake calipers, and this obviously will just gives it that nice clean effect that we're looking for as detailers, because that's the difference. Detailing is in the detailing. So the last thing is I have our mitt, which I showed you before, and this one enables me to get all the spokes just behind the spokes a little bit. I'm not putting my hand in this today because it's absolutely freezing, and I want to keep my hands dry. I'm stopping water getting in the gloves and giving me frostbite. A little dramatic because I'm not going to get frostbite, but I don't like cold hands. I'm fragile now. I'm a very sensitive lad. There we go, nice and clean. So just rinsing these wheels off, they actually have zero protection on them. Luckily we have a very easy to use wheel rim sealant, and I'm going to show you that in a second when we get inside. It's a fantastic product, very easy to use. Okay, so wheels are clean. Next I'm going to move on to the pre-wash. Obviously you've seen this car is covered in, some tree fallout and tree sap and half a bird. Lots of spiders and stuff. So what I'm going to use is our multi-star cleaner. I'm going to use this as a pre-wash. This product is absolutely fantastic. This is an alkaline based cleaner which is great for solving organic dirt problems, which obviously this car is covered in on the outside. But this product is fantastic because you can use it for interior, you can use it for pre-wash, we can use it for engine bay, we can use it for cleaning the tyres and the arches, and as I said, we can use it on the interior, we can use it for carpet cleaning and seat cleaning and stuff like that. It really is a absolute all-purpose cleaner. Like I say, you know, I've diluted this in pump sprayer at 1 to 10. I have it in a foam sprayer also at 1 to 10, which is quite a good performance of cleaning around that dilution ratio. It's also high foaming, so putting it in a foam lance is fantastic because, as I've said in previous videos, using a foam, it dwells longer and you actually use less product. So that's a fantastic way to apply it. So there is a little sneaky way to do this. If you have a car which is completely covered in dirt, and to be honest, this isn't that bad, but you can put it in a snow foam lance and use it as a strong snow foam, as opposed to our Actifoam Energy, which is obviously pH neutral. This will obviously give you a bit more powerful cleaning. And as I said, you know, you can even use it for engine bay cleaning. If you have a really bad engine bay, diluting this 1 to 5 will actually give you some really powerful cleaning, which can actually help with grease and oil problems. So it really is a multi-purpose product and it's great value for money. Right, let's get this TVR decontaminated. Let's get the pre-wash on there and get off the cat marks. So you can see I'm covering the car with a nice bit of foam from the foam sprayer. The multi-star will obviously sit on there because of the foam. It gives it a longer dwelling time, as I said. And that will just help break down all the dust and tree fallout and dirt and stuff that's all sat on it. And that will obviously mean that when I come to the contact wash in a minute, when I actually start washing it with, you know, a wash mitt or whatever, I'm not going to rub all that into the paint and cause some scratching. Most swarm marks and scratches on a vehicle, pretty much all of them come from washing. If you don't touch a car, you don't scratch it. So the best thing obviously when washing, whether it's maintenance washing or whatever, is try and make sure the car is as clean as it can be before you come into the contact wash. That's obviously not always achievable, but that really is down to the coating on the car or the cleaner you're using. Obviously multi-star is quite a strong cleaner, which will help, you know, remove, you know, hopefully most of what's on this car. But obviously you have to be careful with coatings and stuff. And that's where the snow foam comes in. But obviously snow foam needs some kind of coating to stop the dirt sticking to it in the first place, to remove those contaminants so that you prevent scratching during washing. So I've put the multi-star all over, you can see that dwelling now. I've also put multi-star, obviously all the arches and stuff as well, to get rid of all the crud that's in there. You can actually physically see all of the dirt dropping off onto the floor. It's a pretty cool shot. And what I've done is put the multi-star on the tyres, and I've got some in a pump spray here. I'm just going to apply a bit more. And I have my intensive brush. And the reason why is because tyre dressings are designed to stick to rubber. They're not designed to stick to old dirt and old tyre dressings. So if you want your tyre dressings to last, you need to make sure that the tyres are clean because it needs bare rubber. That's most of the reason why it's flicked that everywhere. That's the reason why most of the time the durability on tyre dressings are affected, because actually the rubber, when it was applied, was not clean enough. Once we've given it a clean, I get it inside. Before I apply any tyre dressing, I use our Prepare spray, which is a solvent-based cleaner, which will actually degrease and remove any lasting dirt before I put any kind of dressing on it. We've used the multi-star, rinsed that off. You can see actually it was looking a lot cleaner. Now I'm just going in with Actifoam Energy, which is our snow foam. which obviously you can see is putting on a lovely blanket of foam, and that'll just help remove any, you know, any little bits and stuff which are still left on there. There was still a lot of tree residue coming out of gaps and stuff, and some leaves and things, so this will just help with that before I go into the contact wash. That's the December picture in the calendar sorted. So into the contact wash now. We're using our Gloss shampoo, which you've seen before. It's highly concentrated, lovely slick suds. It's picking up the last bits of dirt. I'm glad I snow foamed it because there was a lot of tree juice which was coming out of a few gaps and stuff, so that helped massively. So we're going to get this washed, then we can rinse it off, final rinse, give it a dry, and we can get it inside. We've been through the contact wash, you've just seen. This car doesn't have much water behaviour or protection on it. If you see, if I hit it with a jet wash, the water's just sticking as one big panel, which says to me there is no coating or protection on this car. And to be honest, where it's been sat for 6 months or whatever, it's not surprising. I don't think it's ever really had anything that great on it. So, and the product I have is Spray and Seal. And this is really easy to use. What you have to have is a wet panel, so you give it a wet. Okay, and while there's water on there, it's a very highly concentrated product, so you don't need much of it. You only need 1 or 2 squirts per panel maximum. Okay, and then what you do is you immediately rinse. So I'm going to rinse this off. You can see now the water is sheeting off. There's a beading effect, and you can actually see where it oversprayed onto the bonnet, how it's actually made most of the bonnet bead as well. That's how concentrated it is. That's why you only need a very, very small amount. You know, to go from a car which had absolutely zero protection to that from just a spray is pretty remarkable. Where this has been sat under a tree, it's picked up some contaminants and stuff, so it's not the smoothest surface either, so it just shows how well it's done. Perfect. I'm not going to do the rest of the vehicle because we're going to show you a few different coatings that we have on it once we get it inside. So I'm going to get it dry, we're going to get it started, and we're going to get it in. So the beauty with using Spray and Seal, as you can see, most of this panel is now dry. So that makes drying a lot easier. When you have a big pool of water over a surface, it's very difficult to dry. Even the best drying towels, you know, as good as our towel is, when you have lots of water on a surface, it's very difficult for the towel to absorb it all. But as you can see now, the panel is mostly dry. And as I apply the towel, you know, the water soaks up, and I can literally drag it across and dry that panel off. Now you can see the towel, this is the back of it, but the towel now has hardly any water on it, meaning I don't need so many towels to dry multiple cars. And obviously this is going to save me a lot of time drying this car. Given it a dry, brought it inside. Before I start doing anything paintwork wise or anything else, I'm going to coat the wheels. As I said, we had a really simple wheel coating, and I'm not messing about. It really is that simple. Here it is here. German label doesn't help, but I can assure you this is wheel rim coating. This one, you need to give it a really good shake. I've already been shaking it up off camera, but you need to give it a really good shake to make sure it's mixed. That's one of the key points. The next thing you need to do is obviously take the lid off and then just apply it to the whole wheel. So as if you're painting the wheels effectively. So a nice even coverage of it. So it gets a nice coverage. And then there we go, that's all on. And now you need to do nothing. You just leave it now. It only needs about it's an hour or maybe 2 hours to cure. So that's why I'm doing it now. So while I go and do other jobs, I can let this carry on. And that is it. It doesn't need any wiping or anything like that. It will last maybe 4 washes, something like that, but it's so easy to reapply. And the main thing is this has high brake dust repellency. So, you know, some of my vehicles I've done in the past, I love to apply, say, CC Evo ceramic coating to the wheels, and that's fantastic. It protects the finish of the wheels, keeps them looking glossy and stuff. But what ceramic coatings don't do is repel brake dust. So the wheels still get dirty, you know, as much as any, you know, as usual, effectively, as if they do if they don't have any coating on. Whereas this one, it's different. This stops brake dust sticking to the wheel, and therefore the wheels stay cleaner for longer. And that is a massive advantage. And as we've seen, it's so simple to apply. I'm going to get it onto the other 4 wheels, and then I'm going to move on to tackling this paintwork. Okay, now I'm going to tackle the paint. This obviously isn't a full detail. We're just trying to bring this car back to life and give it some protection so it can go away for the winter. So what I'm going to do is, we've been doing a few product reels on this vehicle using different coatings. So we've got a few different things on different panels, which you'll be able to see on our social media. But obviously now I need to make sure everything's protected. So what I'm going to use is our Extreme ceramic all-in-one polish, which you may have seen us use before. It's a fantastic product. It has a very small amount of cut. It has some fillers, so it will fill minor scratches, and then it has ceramic protection, which will see it through the winter into the spring next year. So it's very easy to apply. We just apply a few blobs onto the Sonax P-ball, which is a fantastic thing for applying polishes and waxes, because it's really nice and ergonomic. It feels nice in your hand. It's just much easier to use than, say, the blocks or, you know, the small little pads. It just makes life easier. So what we do is we will work this into circles, we work this into the paint. Obviously, if you have any like deeper marks or deeper scratches, you can spend a bit more time, you know, working them, or maybe on a cloth, or, you know, using the abrasives to remove them. But my aim here is just to remove some very fine ones, fill in some deeper ones, and apply that protection. Because as you've seen earlier, there is nothing on this car. So this will really make a difference to the overall gloss, and obviously when it goes back away for the winter, it will just keep the paint protected. There we go. Once you've applied it round, there's no real like curing time or drying time or anything like that. It's not like some polishes or sealants where you have to let it dry. You just need to leave it a brief moment, and then you can just buff off. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I always fold the cloth into 4 because that gives us more cloths. And the main thing to do, and this is the same whether you're taking off waxes, ceramic coatings or whatever, don't try and remove everything in the first step. It makes no sense trying to use this side and really going at it to try and remove the polish. Just keep turning the cloth and let the microfiber do the absorption. And as you can see there, as I've turned it over, now it's starting to remove pretty much all of it. And then we can obviously turn the cloth to a clean dry side again and use that one for our final wipe. The whole point of that is that I don't just keep, you know, going at it, because even the softest microfiber, if I'm pushing way too hard, I could end up scratching the finish. And I definitely do not want to do that. And there we go. That's that half the roof done. And hopefully you can see that now has an amazing gloss. It has a lovely slick finish. And overall it's now protected. That will last about 3 months. So super easy for 3 months. And if I can find my little water sprayer, I will show you some beading. Here we go. And there we go. Pretty good. For just a simple application and then, you know, wiping off, that's fantastic. And as you've seen the car outside, you know, there was no water beading on this car. It was completely covered in water, and now it's protected. Just so much more gloss on here compared to the bonnet. that's the paintwork all sorted. I've gone around, done the glass, as you've just seen. So now the final little touches is I'm going to do the tyres. And normally on something classic or, you know, old like this, I like a matte satin sort of finish. But because this paintwork is so sparkly and the car is like literally just gleaming at us with this glittery finish, I'm going to use a high gloss tyre dressing on here to really complement this paintwork. Not to everyone's taste, I know, but I've made a decision and I'm going to stick with it. So what you can do with this product is you can spray it directly onto the tyres, and that will save time as long as you are wiping the wheels around afterwards. You know, if you're deciding to coat it afterwards, you can spray the tyre gloss around. Any overspray onto the wheels you can remove with Sonax Paint Prepare, and then you can use the coating afterwards. I'm doing it the other way. As you've seen, I've already coated the wheel. So I'm going to be using Sonax applicator, which is a sponge one. You can use the brick ones. Some people like using the P-ball and that. I like this one because it folds nicely, so I can force it, you know, especially around here. We will have to move the car forward to be able to get that little bit in a second, but it just molds nicely around the tire. And also I can do some of these, the curb protectors as well by squeezing it in there. So it's just easier to handle. So we just spray onto the applicator. Easy enough. And the thing I like to do is do one wet wipe all the way around the tire first, and that gets a good even coverage, because if you start working in here, you can work it into these grooves, the tread of the tire, and then what will happen is, you know, that'll take longer to dry, and if the customer drives the car, it could end up splashing all at the side. This way you get a good even coverage of product all the way around, and then you can then start spreading it around. This is a really high gloss tyre dressing, as you can probably see. Some people like to go up onto the tread and stuff. I would not advise that. I normally just go to the shoulder of the tyre. As soon as you move the car forward, that'll tend to rub off anyway and give you a nice even finish. But going onto the tread is definitely not recommended. You know, the last thing you want is a customer slipping into a hedge just because you've decided to get some tyre dressing on the tread. So definitely avoid the tread. I had so much fun working on this today. Considering how this looked when it rolled up this morning to how it looks now is an incredible contrast. The process we go through, the Sonax products obviously make the job so much easier, but you know, how dirty this was, you know, covered in tree sap and tree juice and birds and all of that, and now it looks like this. It's absolutely incredible. We made all the right choices on the products, you know. A quick hand polish with our Extreme all-in-one ceramic polish has really made this color pop. Glossy tire dressing I think is perfect. Glass is all clean. We've gone round. I mean, it just looks so much different, and I'm sure you'll agree this color looks absolutely stunning. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I did working on it. If you did, hit the like button, and I would definitely recommend hitting the subscribe button, because coming up very soon, next week in fact, we will be filming a very special car that we have in here, and we will actually be going into a lot more depth where we're going to be doing some paint correction and actually some of our coatings as well, probably ceramic coating or something. We'll assess it when we get it in, and I will take you along for the ride, but that's going to be a fantastic video to watch, and that will be next week. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you then.